The data set and the data frame. So the data set are the records collected, which may be for general or specific purposes. The data set may be a population or sample of the relevant individuals or observations in the study. So the data set is just another word for the data or the data records. And let's note here some interesting information too about sample and population. Note that as the example here depicts, we can have a data set of confirmed COVID-19 cases as the population of confirmed COVID-19 cases. But this confirmed COVID-19 cases, this population, which means all of the confirmed COVID-19 cases, might be just a sample or a proportion of the entire quantity of actual COVID-19 cases. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the statistics of COVID-19 cases were being obtained, what is obtained are the confirmed COVID-19 cases, because that's the ones that they can confirm and they can actually acquire. And in that sense, we actually have a full data, the population of all the confirmed COVID-19 cases, almost kind of by definition. But that is not the population of COVID-19 cases, because there are many more cases theoretically and probably than the ones that are confirmed. The data set is usually a single or multiple digital files of tables. So it might be one table or multiple tables, and usually one file per table. And tables, one table exists for each type observation, as well. As I was kind of saying before, the observational unit is going to be the same in each table. The rows are the instances of observations, and it's the same for the same file or the same data set. And the columns are the fields or the attributes of observed. So we're going to see multiple words that refer to the same thing. So field, attribute, column, variable. Data set format for the files is usually .csv, comma separated values, or the XLS or XLSX, which is the Microsoft and a spreadsheet related format. XLSX is also the other one. So data set files may be imported into programs like Microsoft Excel. And I'm highlighting here that you should import, and I might talk about this more as well later, import the data files such as CSV, import the CSV into Excel, and do not double click into it to open it directly. It's very important to import it, because there are issues in the data encoding and data processing that are important to be captured in this way. And also data set files may be imported into programs such as R or Python, which we'll do. And when we do that, when we import the data set, the data file into a program like R, we import it into what we call a data frame. But a data frame is usually just a table of what we call also data structure, of a two-dimensional table. The rows are the records and columns are the variables. And if you print out, if you run a statement like this, read.csv in R, this is the function to open this file, and this here is the operator to take this file and put it into a data frame. And then this data, this thing we call data here, is going to be the data frame, a data frame variable, which is going to contain a table of the data. And also we should know the data frame description. So it's just kind of like the metadata, the data about the data. So the data frame may look like something like this with the actual data itself. So here we have data of counties, county information of counties. So the observational unit is the county level. All of the records, all of the instances are different counties, maybe in Alabama, but maybe in all the states, depending on the extent of our data. And these are the variables, the information about the counties that we have. Now, something important to note is the description of the variables themselves, which speaks something about the possible values of the variables. And that's very important too. And we could also see it kind of interestingly, we can also see it in a 2x2 table format. So here, variable name is in one column, description is in another column, and each row is a variable. But we usually don't process the data frame description the way we process the actual data frame. So don't confuse these two. But the data frame description, the description of the variables themselves is really important so you understand how your variables are being measured. Another important thing to note are something about null values, also called NA, or not available values. So null values are a special kind of value, often abbreviated as NA. And they are important because they are apparent and they are a presence in the data that we collect, unfortunately. But it's a fact that we need to deal with. So null or NA can have several meanings. Sometimes it may mean zero or non-existent. So if you have a data set, for example, this is a data set of tweets, and sometimes we have NA value in one of the variables. This is a reply to screen name. So some tweets don't have any reply to screen name because it's not a reply. So in this sense, the NA means zero or non-existent. But sometimes NA could mean that someone didn't include any value or there wasn't any input into that cell or that table. And in this case, it's really problematic because we don't know why it has an NA. Or maybe because they, at the time that they collected the data, they didn't have a particular value. And so they didn't add anything to it. It wasn't zero because zero means something specific. You know, for example, let's say if you find in the bees has 0 wings, that means something different than we don't know how many wings the bee has. So it could be that the scientists didn't know, or that they never had a value for it, that they might not have a value for it in the future. So what the NA means could be available in the dataset metadata or the dataset description. But because of their ambiguity and because they're essentially a lack of value, we often have to exclude them from the analysis. So if your variable has a lot of NA values, that's not good because we're going to remove all the records that have NA from the analysis. Okay, that's it for this one. See you next time.